Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a special video because this video is to celebrate the fact that I somehow reached 10,000 subscribers. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed and supported me over all these years. This was my goal at the beginning of last year. I set myself like 12 months to get to 10,000 subscribers because I said to myself, if I could make it to that, then I can kind of justify spending time on YouTube. I really loved it, but I am the creative type and I do have a lot of projects, and so I kind of need to rein it in sometimes. But I told myself I could do YouTube if I hit the 10,000 mark, and I kind of didn't really think that I would get there. But I'm here, so thank you so much. It's been actually a couple of weeks, and I was really hoping to do a live stream video for my 10,000th video. That's a tongue twister. But unfortunately, the internet at our apartment is rubbish, and they are apparently upgrading to a fibre optic cable, but how long that will take, we have yet to find out. So I am just gonna record a Q&A. Because uploading takes 3 days, so I can only imagine how disastrous doing a live stream would be. Yes. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get on with answering some questions for you guys, because I put up a little post about 3 weeks ago now on Instagram and Facebook saying that I was about to hit 10,000 and did you guys have any questions for my Q&A? And you guys actually gave me some really good ones, not like kind of the generic questions that people get asked for Q&As, but like really specific to my channel, which was lovely. And I'm going to answer them for you. So here we go. I'm going to start with a question from a long-time supporter who has been following me right from the beginning, was one of my earliest commenters, and that is Vegan Bombshell on Instagram, but Kendra Vegan Bombshell on YouTube. And Kendra asked, what is your most favorite vintage piece? I love this question because my most favorite vintage piece, like a lot of pieces, has a very unique story to it, and that is what makes it my favorite piece, apart from how fabulously gorgeous this item is. It's one of my performance outfits. It actually is the dress that I wear for my Hollywood Bombshells show, which is my cabaret all about vintage style and the Hollywood icons of the 40s and 50s that influenced my style in both performance and everyday. And the reason that I wear this dress for that show is the reason why it's my favorite item. That was like the longest way I could possibly say that. Actually, my friend Sarah, you've seen her on this channel before in my vlogs and things. People often ask me where I get my vintage tops and stuff from. They're usually from Sarah, in all honesty. Sarah's amazing at finding things in vintage stores and envisaging how something is gonna look off the rack and on you, and she is always right. So we were in Los Angeles. We were actually in an international competition with a group we were in called the Pacific Belts from Melbourne. We were there for 2 weeks, and we only had 1 day off in that 2 weeks to go and check out LA, and neither of us had ever been to LA before, so we were pretty dang excited. And of course, our 1 day off we used as the opportunity to go to Burbank, to go to the Pinup Girl clothing store, the Besame store, and then check out all of the vintage stores around there, because I had read that that was like the place to go to see vintage stuff. We popped up there and we were looking in this little vintage store, and Sarah pulled this dress out and she was like, oh my gosh, you have to try this on. And I was like, I was reluctant to try anything on because, as usual, I had traveled overseas whilst I was completely skint. And when I tried it on, I was just like, it fitted like it had been made for me, and it was amazing. Like, it made me feel like a 1940s Hollywood movie star. And we asked the lady who owned the store how much it was going to be, thinking, oh, it's going to be so expensive, because it was all like ex-Hollywood garments and stuff from like really rich people in Los Angeles, so we thought it would be really expensive. And she said, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm not really willing to let that particular item go for any less than $40. $40. I was expecting her to say like $400, so I bought it. And then I got back to the hotel room with Sarah, and I was looking at the inside of the dress because I was like, it's all handmade, it's beautiful, I was really excited about it. And I discovered a Universal Studios costume department barcode on the inside. Like, I have no idea who wore this dress or for what film, but I do personally like to imagine that it was the backup dress for Gilda. That's just where my mind goes. let's just leave it at that, okay?
That's the story that went around, but here's the real lowdown. Put the blame on me, boys. Put the blame on me. Do you like my dress?
Second question comes from Vonrus on Instagram. She says, did you have singing lessons? Yes, I did. So I've had singing lessons ever since I was a little girl. I grew up in a very musical family. My mum studied music as well and trained in classical voice, and my auntie is, well, she's retired now, but she was a professional opera singer and quite a well-known international opera singer. So there was a lot of encouragement for me to become a performer. I don't come from a traditional family where it's like, you need to go to school and get a job and be responsible. It was like, you have a full-time job. We're really concerned that you're not, you know, pursuing your passions and that you're being responsible. We're very disappointed. So yeah, I was very much encouraged to pursue the arts as a youngster. My dad was an avid jazz fan, so I grew up listening to the likes of Ella and Billy and Coltrane and Miles Davis. You name it, it was playing in our house. And also things like The Doors and Cream and Led Zeppelin. So I pretty much loved music up until like the 1970s, and then I just really know nothing about it after that. It's not entirely true, but I know a lot about music from pre-1979 and not a lot about it afterwards. If you were to quiz me, I would not do well in a current music quiz. Anyway, so from a young age I had lessons with my mum and my auntie. I started off with like a classical voice sound, and then when I was 15 I really wanted to join the jazz choir at my high school. So I started having singing lessons with the jazz teacher that was also the choir instructor, and joined the jazz choir and studied with her for quite a while. When I finished high school I actually went and did a contemporary voice diploma because there was no contemporary voice degree anywhere except in Tasmania, and I didn't really have any desire to live and move to Tasmania. So I did a diploma instead of a bachelor for 2 years, and I majored in contemporary voice and jazz theory. And in the first 3 weeks of music school, 2 of my lecturers asked me to audition for them. I was 17 at the time, so it was kind of terrifying but really exciting at the same time. One was a funk band, and then I auditioned that same week for my lecturer who wanted to start up a jazz trio, and he ended up asking me to be the singer for his jazz trio, and I have been working professionally ever since. There you go. So that's kind of how I ended up in the jazz arena, even though it was never my intention. I wanted to be the next Christina Aguilera. And I'd have to say that soul and R&B is still my jam. And next question. Oh, this is a good one. All right, at Amber Nelsonus? I'm not quite sure, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, on Instagram asked, if you could only wear one colour for the rest of your life, what would it be? This is actually a 2-part question, so I'll answer that first. The answer to that question would be red. I love red. Somehow everything in my wardrobe ends up being red, and when it comes to makeup, I pretty much only buy red lipstick and red nail polish in a variety of shades. Just red, 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 red. I think it's vampy, it's sexy, and it's attention seeking, and I am somewhat attention seeking, I will admit. So red. And the second part of the question from Amber is, if you could meet any famous person from the past, who would it be and what would you do together? I would have to say my first obsession, Audrey Hepburn. I think she had a fascinating life, and as a young, I think I was a tween, I was like 10, 11, 12, I read her biography of her life that involved growing up during the war, and she actually snuck messages to informants in her ballet shoes. She was part of the, which royal family was it? Can't remember. She was part of one of the royal families. Her mother was a duchess, and then she ended up going to Hollywood. She became an actress and just really quickly rose through the ranks because she had those beautiful big doe eyes and this amazing presence on screen, as we all know. But also she was a humanitarian, and she shied away from Hollywood life quite a lot. She used to kind of disappear to her country home with her husbands, not all at the same time obviously, when she was married at different points to different men. Yeah, I just think she's a really fascinating person. was a very fascinating person, and I would have loved to go for a wander just in the woods near her home or somewhere kind of peaceful and quiet and just chat to her about life and what she thought of it. Just a couple more questions, then I'll wrap it up because I didn't want this to be too long. But another one of my long-term subscribers and commenters, Anushka Boss, who is also a moderator on the Facebook group Vintage Tips and Tricks, so thank you Anushka for just being like so supportive and amazing. I have a feeling that Kendra is as well, so thank you both. She asked me, if you could do a duet with anyone, alive or dead, who would you pick? I would have to say that if I had the dream opportunity of being asked to do a duet with Tony Bennett, I would very happily follow in the footsteps of Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga. That would be fine with me. I will go with that. Midsummer, MDSMMR, I'm assuming that's Midsummer, on Instagram, said, you are also a singer, performer, right? Wouldn't it be an awesome opportunity to share some of your musical skills with us? Yes, I agree. YouTube is a wonderful opportunity to do that, and I have kind of been bad at that, mostly because I've moved around so much over the last few years, and it takes a lot more effort to produce a music video for YouTube than it does to sit down and like just chat to you guys. I also need lots of equipment and lots of time editing, because I have to edit the sound and the band and the video. So yeah, I've been bad at that. I have to upload that. I actually have videos to upload and to show you guys, and I haven't done that. I'm not that keen on just like sitting down in front of the camera and singing to you guys. I think the professional in me feels like it's not polished enough or something. I always hate that. I also hate being asked to sing at parties. I don't know. There will be another video up very soon, because I am actually in the middle of editing one that is of a show that I did in Australia. It's actually like a rehearsal of the show, but to give you guys a taster of one of my shows, A Spoonful of Sugar, a jazz twist on all of the childhood songs from movies like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Mary Poppins, Sound of Music, etc.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game. Then every task you undertake becomes a piece of cake. A lark, a spring, it's very clear to see that a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine.
So there'll be a taster of that coming very soon. And then when I collect all of my music recording gear from Val's parents' house in France, where it is at the moment so it doesn't get damaged in transit, then I will be looking to work with musicians here and across Europe to do collaborations of covers and originals. So stay tuned, there is more music coming, because I know people keep asking and I will do it. I'm sorry. All right, lucky last question, here we go. At Melody Selleck said, I hope you keep a minimalist vintage wardrobe whilst traveling. Can I speak it in English? What are your key pieces and what do you consider when putting your wardrobe together? This is a good question. Yes, I certainly had to consider what items would make it with me when I came traveling, but also I moved countries. I left Australia, so I had to really like downsize everything and decide what I was and wasn't going to keep. So basically what happened is that I threw everything out except for my vintage costumes and my music and recording gear. Not necessarily sensible, because there were things I got rid of that I really needed. But no regrets, because I still have my vintage items. Which I love. I do have a couple of regrets though, because I decided to throw away my What Katie Did seam stockings. Yeah. I had this funny idea that I would somehow have money when I got here and that I would be able to replace them really easily. Turned out there was more important things to buy when arriving in this country than seam stockings, and yeah, they kind of went to the bottom of my priority list. I don't know why I did that. It's not like they took up much room in my suitcase, but in the last like 1 hour before leaving the country, I had to things had to get cut. I threw out a favorite pair of high heels, red high heels that I love. They're actually the high heels I'm wearing in my like opening credits picture where I'm in the suitcase kicking my leg up. Why did I throw those out? I don't know. I threw them in the bin, guys. What the hell? Like I was stressed. And I also gave away my authentic, structured, strapless, spiral stitch bullet bra, my real one, my perfect one, because being like structured, it didn't squish into my suitcase and I literally couldn't fit it. And I don't know why I didn't ask my housemates to keep it for me or something, but for some reason I put it in the box to go to the op shop, and I don't own it anymore, and I have not been able to find an authentic one in my size again. And I'm seriously regretting that. So yeah, minimalism, not all it's cracked up to be, okay guys? Okay? Just remember that when you're throwing out your vintage stuff. But yes, when I went overseas, I thought about minimalism and what is sensible to take with me. I did not take lots of vintage items because I was really terrified that I would get off the plane and then be told they lost my baggage and then my vintage would be gone forever. So I think I took 4 performance dresses with me / evening kind of cocktail dresses, but like lightweight ones that I could roll up quite easily into my suitcase. And then other than that, I took like my Freddy's pinewood jeans and tops. I took some pinup girl clothing stuff, and then I took some like staple contemporary stuff that can be like crossover vintage wear or crossover like retro look wear. I only had 1 suitcase for like everything I owned, so I didn't even have that much clothing, let alone that much vintage clothing. But yeah, sports gear and reproduction vintage is basically all that made it to France with me, and my recording gear, which was heavy. And that's it, guys. That is my Q&A over. I cannot believe I'm at 10,000. I'm so excited, and actually at this point it's like at 10.5, even though I haven't uploaded any videos. I don't know why anyone would follow me because I'm a bad YouTuber, but yes, apologies about that. I have been working incessantly to make the money, because as much as I love this, it doesn't make me the money. So sometimes I have these ebbs and flows where I'm like really productive and every week you guys get a video, and then I just have like a month where not much happens because I am at work every day. And when I have my 1 day off a week, I cannot wake up. So I'm doing my best. The more that the channel grows, the more time I can spend on it. But yes, more YouTube to come, more music to come, more vintage to come. Thank you so much for your support. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.